sketch to sample, how to find the right person to make your first product, and how to go from an idea on a paper to a physical sample in your hands without spending thousands of money or getting burnt by the wrong manufacturer. The first sample I ever held in my hands was wrong. The fabric was wrong, the color was wrong, the fit was wrong. And I had waited 8 weeks for it, 8 weeks of excitement, imagining this beautiful product, and what arrived looked nothing like what I had asked for. That experience taught me something I have carried for over 20 years. Finding the right person to make your product is not about finding the cheapest option or the fastest option. It's about finding someone who understands what you're trying to create and has the skills to bring it to life. So today, I'm walking you through exactly how to do that step by step, whether you're making one sample or preparing for your very first production run. Welcome to Build the Dream Brand. I'm Bhavna Rishi, founder of Build the Dream Brand, and for over 20 years, I've been helping founders, artists, and fashion startups design, launch, and scale brands. I've worked with museums like V&A, department stores in the United Kingdom, to first-time founders who started with nothing but an artwork idea or a sketch. This is a podcast for anyone who wants to build a fashion brand without wasting thousands of pounds and years on mistakes that could have been avoided, whether you are at the beginning, sitting with the idea or a sketch, or you're already trading and trying to figure out what comes next. This is your space. I've already stepped on all the landmines in the brand building landscape. So I'm here so you don't have to. In the last episode, we talked about validating your idea with nothing but an iPhone. If you have done that and people want what you are making, the next question is, who is going to make it? Today is all about. So let's get into it. Here is what I see happen all the time. A founder has their idea validated. They are excited. They go straight to Google and type in clothing manufacturer UK or fashion factory, small orders. They find someone, send over the sketch and on WhatsApp, or pay a deposit even, and wait. And then one of the three things happen. Number one, option. Okay, the sample arrives and it is nothing like what you have imagined. Number two, the manufacturer stops responding. Number three, the sample is decent, but it costs 3 times what they expected. You have no idea if the price is even normal for the samples you just created. So all three situations can be avoidable. Okay, that's the good news. And they're avoidable because one document that most new founders have never heard of, or you may have heard of, but you don't know how to do it, is called Tech Pack. Tech Pack is your product's blueprint. It is a detailed document that tells whoever is making your product exactly what you want. It includes the design from every angle, the measurements for every size, the fabric you want, the color references, trims, label, stitching details, everything, every single detail about your product. Without a tech pack, you're asking someone to read your mind. And I promise you, no manufacturer on this planet can do that. You do not need a professional tech pack to get your very first sample made, but you do need to be very specific. The more specific you are, the closer you are to the sample that you are expecting. There are 3 routes to creating your first ever sample, and each one suits a different situation. So let me walk you through all 3. Route 1 is a local seamstress or tailor. This is where I tell almost every new founder to start, not a factory, not an overseas manufacturer, a real person local to you who can sit with you, look at your sketch, look at the challenges in making that product, feel the fabric you have chosen and make something with the knowledge they have, or you can visit them and discuss all the issues around building the product. Why is that important? Is because your first sample is a conversation, not a transaction. Okay, you need to be able to say, actually, we can make this sleeve longer. Maybe these pockets should be placed somewhere else, or that is not the quite the drape I need. I really need to change the base fabric. So you cannot have that conversation over email with a factory in another country. Not yet. So how to find one? Ask at the fabric, local fabric shops, maybe they almost know always someone. Search Instagram for seamstress in your area. Check Bark or other online platforms where local businesses advertise. Ask in local Facebook groups. You're looking for someone who makes garments, not someone who does alterations, although good alteration tailors can often make simple garments, but always look at their reviews. That is a gold mine. And once you have found somebody, you have to cater for the cost. The cost of a sample by local seamstress will cost between 50 and 200 pounds for a simple garment, but it depends on the complexity of the garment. But this is a learning investment. You got to do it. Route 2 is a UK based small manufacturer or sampling unit. If your product is more technical, perhaps it involves specific machinery like overlockers or embroidery or specific type of printing, you may need to contact a small manufacturer from the start. The UK has hundreds of small production units, many of which accept small orders. You can find them on makeitbritish.co.uk, a directory for UK manufacturers, or on LinkedIn and message them directly. The cost will range between 100 to 1,000 depending on their rates and the complexity of the garment. Route 3 is overseas manufacturers. So I'm going to be honest with you, I do not recommend going overseas for the very first sample unless you have industry experience or someone is guiding you. The communication barriers, the shipping times, the minimum order quantities, the quality control challenges are significant when you are learning. That said, if you are ready for this route, perhaps you have already done a local sample and now want to scale, then Alibaba or AliExpress for finding the right manufacturer is one of the ways. But here's a critical thing. Never order from the first supplier you find. Message at least 5, ask for references, ask for photos of their factory, ask what brands they currently produce for, and always order a sample before committing to a production run. You could video call them and look at the products that they've done before for a different client. Before you contact any people, seamstress, manufacturer, or sampling unit, you need to have these things ready. This is a preparation that separates founders who get results from founders who waste time and money. So number one, have a clear sketch of reference images. Pencil sketch with labels showing what you want is fine. You can always hire somebody on Upwork or Fiverr to create a technical spec. We have a bunch of also free resources that you can download and add your information to it. But reference photograph or even a physical sample to show the fit of the product that you are creating is greatly helpful. Number two, fabric. Either buy a meter or 2 meters of the fabric you want to use or bring a swatch. If you do not know what fabric to use, bring the garment that you love in your wardrobe and say, this is exactly what I want. This is what I want it to feel like. You can buy the sampling fabric from Goldhawk Road in London or Minerva Crafts or Textile Discovery. You can also buy it from the fabric store. Fabric Galore is another online place where you can buy dead stock fabric, and dozens of Instagram accounts also sell leftover fabrics or end of line fabrics. Number three, measurements. Be very particular about sizing of your samples. So usually it will be 10 or 12 for women's wear and medium for menswear. Write down the measurements: bust, waist, hips, length, sleeve length. Use a garment you already own that fits well and measure it flat and write everything down. And number four are the details. What kind of buttons or zips or colored thread? Where do you want the label to? What do you want it to look like? Is there a lining? What about the care label? The more of these decisions you make before you approach a maker, the smoother the process will be. When you find someone who looks promising, here are the 5 questions I need you to ask them before committing. Apply whether it's a local seamstress or a factory on the other side of the world. Question 1 is, can they show you examples of similar products? If they have made anything similar, then maybe they can show you a video and share with you the clients they have worked with for the same product. But if they haven't done, that's not automatically a deal breaker. But someone who has done a similar product, then it will be obviously better for them to produce your product because there will be less challenges there. Now, the next question you need to ask is, what is their sampling fee and timeline and the shipping cost? Go get both of these things in writing, because a good maker will give you a clear price and realistic timeline. Question 3 is, how many rounds of amendments and changes do they allow? Most sampling arrangements will probably include 1 or 2 rounds of changes. So if your first sample needs adjustment, it almost certainly will, you will need to know what are the extra fees included or already included in the original fee your maker has quoted you. Question 4 is, what information do they need from you to get started? A lot of times they will say, need details on this particular area of the product. And you can share pictures with them, share references with them to clarify anything vague about the information that you have submitted. Question 5 is, what are the production runs if you want to go further? So you want to be ready if your product takes off, they're ready to help you scale up from 1 unit to 500 units. When the sample arrives, it's an exciting moment. You're going to have a look at the physical product that you have created. You have spent months creating it. You have to review it properly. So the first thing you're going to do is measure the product. You lay it flat and measure the bust, the length, the sleeves, and match it with your text spec and see where the differences are, discrepancies are. A centimeter here and there, it doesn't matter, but 5 centimeters off is a problem. So check the construction, look at the seams, check the fabric, maybe wash it and see if it matches the care instructions. It doesn't shrink, it doesn't lose shape, the color doesn't run. All these things are very important part of making sure that the product you're creating is up to the mark to be sold to the consumers. Next is to actually try it on and see how it feels. How does it feel when you sit down, raise your arms, walk naturally? Is it itchy on the skin? Is it soft on the skin? Is it exactly how you imagined it to be? Because a garment that looks beautiful on a hanger but restricts the movement or is not quite right on the skin is not the product you want to go forward with. The last thing you need to do is photograph everything. So you photograph the front, back, sides, details, labels. Create a Google folder with references, images of sample 1 and communicate these changes to your maker. Never rely on descriptions alone. And on the photos, you can mark it like this should be 2 centimeters wider, or this pocket needs to be higher. So be very specific in the way you communicate the changes. Often people spend a lot of messages and emails for changes or ideas. Some things can get misplaced. My recommendation would be, if changes are needed, and almost are for the first sample, send your feedback in one clear, organized message, not 5 separate texts over 3 days. One document, one email with numbered points, with photograph references, respect, clarity, and you will get better results and things will not get missed. Before I wrap up, I want to touch on the red flags you need to watch out for. If your manufacturers ask for full payment upfront before starting, that is a red flag, because industry standard is either 30% or 50% upfront and outstanding payment on completion. Anyone asking for 100% before they have done any work is a risk. Another red flag is if they can't give you a timeline, they can't give you a date when it will be shipped, then that is somebody that you don't want to work with. And the statements that I've heard so many times that if you try to explain something, they'll say, just leave it. I know what I'm doing. That's not confidence. That's someone who doesn't want to be feel they don't want to be held accountable. Communication is a big one as well. A good maker will always update you on key stages. And if you're chasing them for updates for weeks and weeks, that pattern will only get worse during production. So just let the manufacturer go and don't work with them. The sample comes in and you're promised that it exactly looks how your tech spec said. So the next red flag would be at sampling stage, they'll say, this is what you gave me, this is what I produced, but it doesn't look like your tech spec. They do not really acknowledge their own mistakes, and a professional maker will own their mistake and offer solutions if things go wrong at the sampling stage. So here's your one action from today's episode. If you have a product idea that you have validated, or even if you just have a sketch, I want you to do one thing during this week. Find 3 potential makers, 1 local seamstress, 1 small UK manufacturer, 1 wildcard, someone you found on Instagram or LinkedIn who makes products you admire. Send each of them a message introducing yourself and the project. See who responds, see how they respond. That first conversation will tell you a lot about who is right for you. If this episode resonates with you, inside Build the Dream Brand and through my mentoring, we also help you figure out your tech pack, check your manufacturer codes, find a supplier, or just tell you honestly whether your sample is good enough. So you can book a free discovery call with me. There are also resources on our website, bhavna.com, to get you started with free templates, checklists, and worksheets. Thank you for joining me for this episode of The Good, Bad, and the Ugly of Building the Dream Brand for this whole journey. If you've been listening to the series, in the next episode, we'll explore clarity, courage, and conscious entrepreneurship and learn how to break free from indecision, self-doubt, and emotional burnout so you can build a business that actually reflects who you are. If you found this episode useful, share it with one person who's struggling with their own fashion idea and does not know where to start. Until next time, keep taking small, brave steps. That's how every great brand begins. So keep going and keep building.